Hello, Grats on the first day corruption.
So people just watching all the time, is it?
No, I post in Discord early.
And
then people come, and then I will go live.
Okay.
While I get coffees and just get prepped up.
Yep.
And then I turn on my mic and greet people. Hello, it's my face. I deserved that first. Yeah, you did. Well, did you deserve it because you were here first, or because you're doing mod stuff? You deserve congratulations for mod stuff. I have no idea where that dude was coming from, but probably Discord, considering I think they were in chat just before I went live. Who knows? Both? That's fair. Welcome. I don't think you're in the screen. Doesn't matter though. Do we? Yeah, you can sit up there. Nice new haircut there.
No, I should have got a comb.
I need a comb for my beard, but that's a whole
Beard comb?
Yeah. It gets tangled, but I think that's because I don't use proper beard shampoo.
How come your camera's so low?
By habit, I guess. Because last stream I ended, I was chilling with Misa.
Oh.
So I had it down so Misa could see.
There you go.
Hi James. Hello Batch. Welcome nerds. I was having a nap, kind of potato quality.
On the floor?
As you do.
Not generally.
Why not?
The last time I napped on the floor was in a Japanese airport.
I don't mind it. Like, I often find myself lying on the floor. You'll see me kneeling a lot too. Like either leaning in on the chair or something, just kneeling down or something, because I don't want to sit down constantly. I'm comfy in a lot of places.
Almost like you had to call an ambulance. I open the door and you're unconscious.
No, it's fine. Like, there are moments where I just... Like, even when you guys are away or something, I'll be, chilling on the couch, and then I'm kind of tired. I just need to, rest on the floor. There's nothing wrong. I'm not unhealthy or anything.
No, just a bit mental. So.
Well, that's a whole other thing. Kind of potato quality. As in camera delay. I've had that before on one of our streams where camera was like a second behind anything we did.
Oh, well.
Can you hear us clearly though?
Don't do much.
Camera quality. Why is that?
What, you got a shit camera?
Well,
Or the
technically no.
quality of the camera is shit?
Is it delayed? I don't see any camera delay. Okay.
No.
It's probably just because we're leaning back too and other stuff. As long as there's no delay, I think a little shittiness, no delay, just the quality. It's not always this bad quality though, is it? Oh, I know why actually, I think. See that little logic tech. I need a third-party program to run it half the time. This thing, oh, that's why. Let's stop that. I don't know why that wasn't recording. Is that fixed it? I don't know if that would. Let me try something. I'm sorry, chat. I like streams being a little scuffed. It means I don't have to feel like I'm proper. There we go. Is that mildly better? Who cares? It's enough. No delay. Potato quality. Yada yada. Nope. But it's not worse.
Oh, that's always good stuff.
Yes. Still bad. Like, it looks fine on my screen.
We don't need. We're not going to do a dance or anything.
Well, no, you don't need to see our faces. We're not doing anything. That's a heater, by the way.
I gathered that.
Yeah, okay, I'm just making
It's
sure
because of
you're
that.
not...
Because I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
really look like a microwave or anything, does it?
I think I usually get away with it because my face cam's just a small corner.
Alright.
Hello, Noobstat. Hey, butter.
Yeah.
Toast with butter says hi.
Oh, hi, toast with butter.
So, you picked today's topic. What do you want to
A
talk
needle pulling thread. So that was anyway. Today's topic. I don't know.
Because
What do we?
we do have a disagreement on some topics.
Yep.
I think alien is a fun one because it doesn't fucking matter at the end of the day.
Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we
Which is-
spoke about that one anyway.
Yeah. But the other one, which,
What is happiness?
yeah, or what can make one happy?
Well, yeah. So there's a complex. First, I mean, the issue here. So depends how interesting. You've got to define what happiness is.
Okay. So how would you define it?
So I guess happiness is that feeling that, or happiness is a form of contentment, a form of pleasure. It comes from. It's not an emotion itself. I mean, laughter isn't happy. I guess happiness is, an emotion.
It's an emotion.
Yeah,
If
I
it's
guess
not
it is,
emotion,
yeah.
what
Well,
is
I mean, you can't. I guess it's like lots of emotions. It's unlike an emotion. I don't think. I don't know. Happiness. I don't know if happiness. It's something we strive for, but it's sometimes I think an unachieved. I think it's an unrealistic goal to strive for it.
I don't think it's also like something people strive for either though. Like sometimes people are just happy to, sit back and enjoy a nice meal with their family, and it's not like, oh, I need to enjoy this meal with my family because that will bring me happiness.
Exactly
It's-
right. Yeah.
It's
I agree with that.
a type of being enjoying it in moments.
Well, enjoyment is different to happiness too. So I think the lack of happiness doesn't mean is not miserable. And you can't be happy all the time. Like
yeah.
so, in the tradition of the way I guess you look at it mindfully, and the way that your Buddhist traditions look at happiness, they talk about the pursuit of happiness causes a lot of misery, and a lot of suffering in the world is because people continually try to be happy, and you can't. That's what they're saying. The pursuit of happiness, which is an American.
So have we
American
found out what happiness is though? Like what? Like how do we describe pursuing what?
Well, the pursuit. I know that's tricky, isn't it? So because it's different for different people. Like for some people. And I think we've talked about this before. You can sit on a mountainside with nothing and be happy. You don't. You can just choose to be happy in your own mind. It's a state of mind, really. I think happiness.
I think it's a bit more than that. Batch has a question: can you get bored of happiness? Which
yes, I reckon.
Well,
so that's a good point. I'd just like to.
Yeah, go on. I think you're going to say the same point.
So. There's this classic thing where if you're always happy, then that your level. So it's a bit like being miserable or having a terrible time in your life. If you've done some, there's this spectrum. So what you consider terrible might be, for example, you're really exaggerating things. The murder of a loved one, right, is utterly gut-wrenching. Most people will never have that. That's here, and then there's this joy of up here somewhere, and what we do is fluctuate in between. So if your life, and I'm not saying your bad experiences are might be, well, I've stubbed my toe is the worst experience you had in your life, then anything other than that's going to be disastrous. And the same with happiness. So you don't want to. You're going to have terrible things, and you're going to have great things, but you don't want to be, because as soon as you're always looking at those great things, then you're going to be trying to do it more and more and more, and the climbing stops.
Like I think it becomes.
Does that make sense?
It does. The way I'll describe it, it becomes like the norm.
Yeah. So the new norm, the new norm, being happy, suddenly becomes the new norm. So instead of accepting it and then coming back down, the continuous striving for this is as I said, it can become normal or boring. So,
yeah. So it becomes like your overall happiness is not the average of your emotions. So for example, Jeff Bezos will have all the cars, the best food, whatever, all this fancy stuff.
Yeah.
His level of happiness or his normal happiness emotion would be a lot higher than most people. That means he's not happy at that level.
Well,
I can't speak
his happiness wouldn't be any different to anyone else. He just has more stuff.
Well, yeah, but this is the point I'm saying is if he's always riding on, this is my normal level of enjoyment or whatever, then that's not happy. That's
just what he does. So he might be driving a Ferrari and having lavish meals, but that's normal.
Yeah, that's content for him.
It's so that is not happiness. That's and there's a trap. This is a really good trap where materialism can trick you into being and this is the problem. One of the big problems we have with our modern society is that we're advertising. We're encouraged that if you have a new watch, you will be happy. If you have this car, then you're going to be happy. You've made it. You're in the world. They're selling us emotion, and this is what they do all the time in advertising. And this is a trap in the modern world because, let's face it, we do it. I'm happy because I've got a new coffee machine, but it's not true happy. I'm happy that I've got it. But the reality is, it's just something that's pleasurable for the moment. It's not.
Is that not what happiness is? Having pleasure of the moment.
But you can do that without having a coffee machine or a Ferrari.
Well, yeah, but you can't do it without reaching having something above that bar of contentment.
But so I guess too we need to define, and this is something I'm not.
I think we're going to struggle trying to pinpoint happiness.
Yeah, it's something we should have probably looked at further.
We can still.
I guess there's a thing where you're content and you're having great joy is something that happens when you come back down to a normal content level. Now we sometimes probably mistake. You look at the happiest nations in the world. Look at, I think Bhutan or one of them somewhere like that was considered one of the happiest places, and they're not the richest country.
Yeah.
But what they determine on happiness is, I guess, a level of contentment. and accepting of other people. And I think also that that altruism is an important part of happiness as well.
You're going to need to explain that a little.
Giving to other people, like doing something for other people, is shown to be far greater. Gives you you get more from it than the person getting the gift, and that's another thing that we don't do well in a Western society is
the happiness, like
giving to others.
For example, like I'm happy to see people at work, like customers at work, and I enjoy doing whatever I can to make their day the best. I don't get a promotion for it. I don't get anything for it except, seeing that joy on their face. Like that's like, okay, like that person left the shop today feeling so much better,
and you feel better for it.
Yeah.
I think it's probably something that means something to different people. But I was just thinking as you're saying that, like I think there's a concern, and I think people think they're not happy. Because what happens, we have this tendency to look at the future and become anxious about it and worry, and that that causes the problems. We also have a tendency to have regrets and look at the past, and that also causes anxiety and depression. Those things are linked to that. So being in the moment, we're being where you are, being happy, being content with what you've got is an important thing, and that's regardless of whatever.
Happiness is in the moment. Like you can't be happy about the future. Like you can be happy, I'm going to get married, I'm really happy about it, but like you're happy about being at that moment of happiness.
Yeah.
But it's still about now. Like you can't feel happy about something that's gone or something that's coming per se.
You could look forward to it.
You can look forward to it, yeah, which that will make you happy in the moment because you're excited about something.
I'm looking forward to going on a trip, so you feel that gives you a form of contentment. But I think the pursuit of happiness is where people get shot in the foot, because they think things will make them happy, or they've got to pursue happiness somehow, and nothing. You should be here in the moment and be not continually happy, because it's going to drive you nuts. And you can't. The other thing, and I think we had a bit of a discussion on this, was other people can't make you happy. Relying on someone else to make you happy is unfair on them. I think it's got to be. People can do things that are for you, and they can make. They might think they're doing the right thing, but they might be doing something that aggravates you.
Yeah.
So it's not up to them, it's up to you to be content.
Because like I remember a time, I think this is like when I was in high school, we were living in a shed down in Mount Gambier. I remember being like super happy about like new Transformers TV series coming out. Like now, thinking back on it, I was really happy at the time, but like that's that moment there, and I think this is one of the issues we come in conflict is like we can't chase happiness. Like we can do things that we enjoy and then that will make us happy, but we can't go.
It's fleeting.
Yeah, it's not. Because like it comes down to the point of like if you're always at this point, if you're always getting like all the things you want, like the new coffee machine,
that will be your set point. Yeah,
that'll be your set point, and then you end up not being happy at that point. You need the downs.
It's important to have the downsides to give you comparison. It gives you a measurement, doesn't it? So the worse things are, suddenly the better your situation is, and you see this coming from refugees. You see people coming from overseas who have very little and are fucking ecstatic about it, like because their down was really down.
Yeah. Which is why it's like happiness is always going to be different for everyone, because it's based on basically what their history has been up to set points. Happiness is in the moment, but
you can, as long as I think if you recognise it, if you recognise that spectrum and have an understanding when bad things happen, that they don't last forever as well.
Yeah.
So there's also this thing of impermanence where if you're having a down moment, that's not it forever. If you're having an up moment, that's not it forever. Things always change, always alter.
Yeah.
So you can't be expecting it to be.
I kind of want them to change though. Like, I can't imagine a good scenario where I'm either swear on the spectrum consistently. You gotta have bad days. You gotta allow it.
Yeah,
and
you have to. You got to have bad days so you know what a good day is.
Yeah. Which is kind of like important to have.
Yeah. So we don't. I don't know if we. It's also that, as we said, living in the moment, not trying to be something. Oh, sorry, I lost my train of thought. What I was going to say was no, forgot it.
I fucking love the station. I've been there so many times. So one of the issues we come into conflict with is like I think having things can help make people happy, which is something where you disagree with.
Well, I think it's a little bit of an illusion because there's a research done which is quite interesting, and I can't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. But there's research done on how much money makes people happy, like how much. So it's quite a quantifiable thing. And it actually turns out, and I can't remember how much it is, but you get to a certain point, and it's not like $1 million. It's like 750,000 or something like that, where people get to this point, and then it doesn't matter after that point in what they have. So if you go and look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, now that's a triangle. So Maslow was a psychologist, I think. Anyway, there's a need that you've got to have food, shelter, water, basic items.
Yeah.
And then as you have those things, you then have other things that go on top. So you get to a certain point where you've got your shelter, food, water, entertainment. Anything else tends to is superfluous to that. So apart from the necessities of life, that's where the money comes in. I don't know if I'm making sense here, but that money thing comes into it where it gets to a certain point and it gives people what they need. So in a modern society, you've got transport, we've got cars, shelter. I say modern society, in a first world country like Australia, you've got you've got pretty much stuff around you. The catch comes when advertising in the modern world suddenly go, you're going to be happier if you have a new car. Your neighbour's got a new car. Your neighbour's got suddenly flat, or your friends have got something, and you go, oh, geez, I don't have that. I'm missing out. I would be happier with it. But that's the truth.
It doesn't add anything extra.
It doesn't. You're not getting. So you can choose to be happy. This is the thing. So you're comfortable. Your world's comfortable, and you might live in a bark hut somewhere, which is fine because that's where you're comfortable. And you can then go, I have the things I need. You don't worry about what's going to happen in the future, and you're not fussed about what's happened in the past. And you can go, I'm going to enjoy my life. I'm going to sit out here and watch this sunset and have a moment of peace and happiness. And you can choose it. And if I give you a new watch or a new car, you might like it, but you've got to remember that that's fleeting. And as I said about impermanence, these things don't last forever. So it's the constant chasing that I think causes problems in material things.
Yeah, so that was bringing up that chasing of, that next high of happiness, and this is why gambling gets so addictive to people. Where it's, you're spending money and stuff, but having that win is like, holy shit, I have my time and
Well, there's a biological, this is a physical chemical reaction inside your body that gambling and happiness does, and this is why you chase it. and people who promote gambling and promote poker machines and that know this. They know this.
That's why they have all the flashy lights and stuff. Because
They-
it makes it feel everything more important and stuff.
It makes it feel more like you win a small win and you feel like you know,
Cloud 9.
yeah, and it gives you that endorphin rush.
Yeah.
So gambling is that chase for that rush again. It's like a drug. And having said that, other things can be like that too, and it happens. People have a drug, get an endorphin rush from stealing, for example. So, you know, people get a rush from driving their car fast, or people get a rush from doing whatever it is, lots of things. You know, and you then pursue that instead of going.
That's the problem, because like when you start pursuing it, like if I I'll go to the pubs and I'm like, yeah, sure, chuck a 20 in the poker machines. Oh shit, I won 50, hurrah! But like, you know, chasing that happiness right there is the danger of like it puts your normal level up higher and stuff, and then you're trying to chase it. But also comes the fact that you're losing sight of other things as well, because like, you know, watching the sunset makes you happy. You know, like, well, not for everyone, but like I enjoy actually sunrise. I really like watching sunrise.
I just don't like getting up to watch them.
That's why I like going. That's why I like sleeping twice a day. But that's a whole nother kettle of worms.
Mum and I often get when we happen to be up early enough because it's winter and you can see it. Go, oh, look at the sunrise! Isn't it wonderful? We should get up earlier more often. Right, but you don't.
Like the only reason that's stopping me is because
Cold.
No, I have. You know, I'm a grown up. I have to go to work.
Got adulting to do.
Yeah, you got adulting to do because, like, I remember. I don't know if I could say I was happy at the moment, but I enjoyed the life I was living when I got fired from the pizza place. I had no job for a year. I fell into a sleep pattern of going to sleep at midnight, waking up at 4 a.m. And, you know, I get to go out, see the birds and that rise up, and see the sunrise, and then I'll go to sleep at 12 midday, wake up at 4 p.m. and then stay up late for all my mates and stuff. And I enjoyed that, but that's something I can't always do.
No, but it's also at that age is very typical. Like when you're going through early, like late teens. When was this?
I was like 21 or something.
Well, early 20s, late teens, early 20s.
I was getting mid-20s there or something.
Maybe, okay, no. But there is a sleep thing about that. But
oh yeah,
that's often a biological thing as well.
I could do it today. The problem is, like, you know, I have work at certain times I have to deal with.
You have, and the thing too, that's interesting. Like, I don't go to work now, so I don't have to get up. But if you enjoy your job, I mean, I never liked getting up to go to work, but I enjoyed what I did for the job.
Yeah.
You know, work was, you know, and sometimes work was shit. Like sometimes it was very hard. But
which, like, I don't mind.
I
those
guess
days at
ultimately
work.
it was rewarding. I guess ultimately the big picture was good.
Well, but even the small picture too,
Certainly
like,
in the early years.
because like there's a lot of days where, you know, I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to go to work. I'd much rather sit home and do nothing. But that will just put my level of happiness at the default level, and then nothing will change. And that's where you get stuck in these little, you know, you can't find that happiness because you're just trying to stick to the comfortable level.
So that brings, I mean, also now the interesting thing about happiness is now. So you look at depression, theological depression, where you can't obtain that feeling of happiness. Like, there's a scale, and I know I've filled out 1 million of these forms where they ask you these heaps of questions, and one of them is, you know, does doing what you normally do make you feel happy or less happy than it has before? So the things you enjoy doing, a lot of people when they start having depression or having feeling depressed, find that the normal things they enjoy doing, like, doesn't give them happiness. It doesn't give them joy anymore. They start to find that things can't make them happy. They don't find joy or happiness in anything. So they don't have that. you start to lose that level of that your set point change. It's not a set point anymore. It's now, no matter how far your set point is, always feels bad.
Yeah.
Because there's a
there's like a I was going to say an illusion that the set point is higher than we usually are, but
it's because of chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
What normally gives you pleasure in your brain, and as like chemically it's happiness, doesn't work anymore. You don't have that serotonin.
Yeah, and this comes down to the fact that we are biological people.
Yep.
Like, and at the end of the day, like, happiness is just a chemical running around in our brain, which is going into now drugs and stuff, where people will try and chase their happiness through highs of like meth and or coffee and like other things, like
things comes back to things in the world.
Yeah, things, but it's like a chemical thing at this point.
So chemical things do, I mean, certainly you do pursue that. I've done that. I've pursued it. It was probably more so for me. So it wasn't so much the pursuit of happiness, but more so the fleeing of misery, or the fact of not wanting to confront demons. So I would use probably drugs and alcohol in a way that I
kind of try and chase a higher set point of emotion rather than...
Or perhaps not having such a low, trying to not have that low point.
Trying to bring it up.
Trying to just, I guess when I look back at often how there were some really difficult times when I've taken, you take drugs or you take alcohol, where you would be to try and block out or try and
how your set level of happiness, you reach that average, where you try and remove the past to bring the modern time to...
I think it was more... I think when I think back about it, it wasn't pursuing happiness, but trying to stop feeling bad.
Yeah.
Which I know sounds funny. If you stop feeling bad, you're happy? Well,
no.
Not really, no. It was more of stop me feeling... there's a lot of fear and a lot of misery and a lot of things came about from, PTSD and depression and stuff. So, I think I did a lot of things that were wrong, but not for the pursuit of happiness, but to stop feeling bad, I think.
Yeah. Do you think now that you have a better understanding of things, looking back on it, do you know how to set where happiness is these days?
So I've gone through a lot of apart from medication, which I'm on antidepressants and on other drugs to stop me using other drugs, and so I'm on medications for those. So apart from the chemical things, I have a lot of cognitive tools that I've learned, and I guess this is why I have my happiness, why I've thought about it quite a bit, because to constantly pursue it is just it's a very exhausting thing, because it's not.
You can't constantly chase it.
So you need to recognise the things that cause you problems, and the classic one I think I said before is worrying about the future causes you a great deal of anxiety, and you can't control that to an extent. You don't know if a plane's going to crash into your house. You can worry about it, but you can't do anything about it. And worrying about the future, it's past. You can't do anything about that either. So thinking of all awful things that, especially I've been through, or a lot of terrible things that have happened, excuse me, I can't change those. It doesn't. I guess recognising that then gives me the capacity to then examine it further, and so through a lot of psychology and psychiatric help, you're able to recognise that and recognise how you think, what my thought processes are, and recognising no matter how I'm feeling, and I'm going to feel things, that I can put them over there and say, oh yeah, that's sadness, or I feel, or I'm feeling happy, but it doesn't. I don't have to let it affect me. So that comes back to what I was saying before about choosing it. Like I can choose that. I can choose to engage in that thought, or I can choose not to engage in that.
And that's part of mindfulness stuff, which I do recommend everyone to at least look into.
Yeah,
because it's a helpful tool, basically.
It can be if you like when you look at it. It's like anything, I suppose. It's worth pursuing. Yeah, it's almost like a superpower because it helps you get through so many situations.
Yeah,
and like even things like I was reading a book and it was help. Like my mind goes off on tangents, but because I practice mindfulness, so I can pull my sports back, so I can read a book
I
or follow a recipe or whatever.
Stumbled across it by kind of half accident because, like, at the timber mill, I realised I wasn't happy with what I was doing. I didn't enjoy, I was just doing the motions of things, which
going through the processes.
Yeah, just like, wake up, get dressed, go to work, get home, eat, sleep type of thing, which is kind of exhausting, but I didn't know what I needed to be doing to change that. And I think I've figured out, at least for me personally, what brings me joy of just to myself. And it's usually like one of the big aspects is like I enjoy being challenged and like learning and growing and stuff. So now that I know that, that's something I keep trying to chase. And then when I learn everything I do know and stuff, and then I can feel myself, being stagnated. And I'm like, okay, well, what now? Now I'm just going through the processes again.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving.
And that's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to recognise. It's also something though that I've fallen into a trap of though, is that pursuit of joy or excellence or hobbies or things is what does bring. That's how we should be, and it evolves us. I've been caught in the trap of, oh shit, is this all there is?
Yeah.
And I've gone out and I've not been happy or content with a life of just my normal life. Just living in Australia, doing normal everyday thing, having a job where I can go to and doing my best at my work and that sort of thing. I had this pursuit in my head that there must be something else. There must be something more. And I pursued it to my own detriment, which is, as you
going like across the world and seeing
going over, working overseas and working in environments that are just, really quite out of the ordinary human experience. So look back now, and I think to myself that a simple, if I were just to pursue my normal, like if I stayed as a paramedic in Gambia, lived a normal life, and then just worked and developed my own self and just being content and recognise that, hey, it's okay to be me.
Yeah.
I would have been a different story. I don't have regrets because if I did that, I would never have, it's I wouldn't be who I am now if I hadn't done what I've done.
I'm kind of like the same in that regard of I understand, I wish I did this in the past, I wish I did that, but that's not, I learned so much from it. Like, I've had past relationships where I'm like, I'm sacrificing what I could be happy with and stuff to help other people because I want people around me to be happy.
Yeah.
Even at my own detriment.
It's an altruistic.
Pretty often, but
you got to be careful of that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I don't regret anything I've done in the past. Yeah. It's I now know something better about myself.
It was a learning opportunity.
Yeah, it's a learning opportunity, and I think because of those things too, and it did happen. This type of philosophy of me thinking, it did happen halfway through my last relationship of oh, okay, I know what I'm not happy with what I'm doing. I'm not being challenged. I'm just doing the processes.
Yeah.
I need to go and try new things and stuff. And it was hard because I couldn't do that with the person I was with. But that person I was with had their own issues, and I wanted to help that. And
Mm.
that comes down to like me streaming. Of I want to help my chat. I want to help you guys like figure out like what can they do to chase not you know mindlessly follow happiness, but learn enough about oneself to put themselves in a good healthy mindset.
I think having a good healthy mindset, I think trying things and making mistakes is good. Like, not trying things or not the
Being
fear
afraid of failure.
Your fear of failure doesn't help. If you make a mistake, it doesn't matter. The world, you know, it's you were talking about those parameters. It's generally going to work out in some way or another. You know, you have a go at something, and I'm trying to think. On worst case scenario, obviously, there's always a worst case scenario. You could have a go at something and it could hit you. We don't want to do that.
Well, yeah.
But I'm talking about normal everyday life. So starting a business, or you know, doing something that a bit different, starting a uni course, or perhaps but also just being happy in where you are, being content in your life, in you know, pursuing your work to the best that you can. So you might work, you work in retail, like you obviously. I've heard you talk about it and how you engage with people. You spoke about it just a minute ago. Like, you know, there's a quality in that you can develop. You know, you don't need to be looking over the fence like I tried to do.
Yeah, I think that's a problem. This is what we kind of started with too, like where you're going, oh, I could be happier if I try and do this over there type of thing, and chasing that kind of just is like running on a treadmill. You're not going to get anywhere.
That's what we're talking about before, where you try, oh, I'm here, and now I'm trying to get, well, I must be happier if I'm going to be here, and I must be happier if I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
You know, and you suddenly realise that, well, you can be happy here, right?
You've got to take a step off the treadmill for a bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Be a part of the present and going, you know what, today's shit. I am miserable today. I can't go outside. Like, my anxiety's tripping me out. I can't deal with people. And as weird as it is, I enjoy when those days come by, because that means I know, you know, I'll get over it and then I'll be so much better. And I usually... maybe too much sometimes or whatnot, but I will relish in those bad days, and I'll just cuddle up in here, play my comfort games, eat my comfort food, and just purposely mope around, just kind of let it out of my system, because I feel if I like try and put on a facade of like, okay, I'm fine, this is my average, then that's not gonna help in the long term.
It's a matter of recognising it and going, this is okay. I feel like this. This is not my life. This is just how I feel now. Yeah,
and like your life is never how you feel now. Like even like I'm like these type of conversations I always get nervous with, because I'll say something, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense to me. I believe this, but then like, you know, minutes later or something,
well, hang on, it could change.
Yeah, it'll change, and like.
Oh,
that's the moment of like, we live in the now, so the happiness we experience will only be in the moment. We can, you know, be happy for opportunities in the future, or be nervous about, you know, anxieties in the future.
And it's also like worrying about things. It's you think about how much time you could spend time worrying about something that's happened or will happen, and how it's affecting you right now. Like, you know, you're wasting all that time right now that's for things that don't exist.
Yeah, for things you can't control. Like, there are moments where I will purposely think about, you know, I wish I said this at work, or I wish this happened. But like, and this is where mindfulness really comes in. I try to get people on it, but like, you think about it, you acknowledge it, and then like you let it go.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like some people get stuck like, oh, if only I did this, and if only my life was this way because I did this and this and this, and that's then you're not living in the present, you're living in the past, and then your perception of like your happiness, and that will be at that average level of, you know, you being stuck in the past. Which...
as you said, you recognise it, understand it. Doesn't mean try and change it. Like, it's okay sometimes to feel shitty.
Yeah.
And I think there's a mistake too that people sometimes go, oh, I must not feel this way. I must not feel depressed. Which is not. It's no good as well. Oh, why do I feel depressed today? And I've done this, and it doesn't matter why you feel depressed today. Might be a reason, but it doesn't matter. You just go, I feel this way. That's how I feel, and that's okay.
And honestly, it's a really good, like, it just takes a load off your shoulder. It's like, you know,
that's exactly right. Yeah.
I'm having a horrible day today, but I'm allowed to have a horrible day. I'm allowed to be miserable today. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And thinking like that, it means you're not anxious about the future. Like, oh, I'm gonna be feeling like this forever, and like the rest of my life will be like this. And it's like, today, shit.
It brings to mind too when other people do things. So I was reading, or it's a classic thing about the arrows being shot. So if someone does something to you, and like cut you off in traffic, and that's the first arrow, like something bad happens to you. And then how you react is the second arrow. So you can be shot by one arrow by someone cutting you off, and then you go absolutely apeshit and rage, and then there's another arrow.
Yeah.
So how you choose to behave in situations and how is going to make a difference as well. So when people do things to you, and you get angry, you know, how do I react to that? You know.
Yeah.
I bang my head on a door, and I, used to feel like smashing the door, which is kind of inanimate object.
Yeah, like I do, because again, sometimes you need to allow yourself to feel those lows. Sometimes you need to allow yourself to feel angry.
Yeah. It's not a bad emotion, just an emotion.
But it also comes down to the fact that you need to understand that, you know, you don't always need to be this. Like, there are options, and
we're humans. We have this, and it's okay to feel angry. And you just have to recognise though that sometimes what happens is I've always sort of this bit of a joke where the guy says to his neighbour, "Can I borrow your lawnmower?" And the guy says, "Yeah, mate, no worries." And the guy borrows the lawnmower, mows his lawn, and then forgets to return it. And in his mind, he's, "Oh shit, I forgot to return it. My neighbour's going to be really angry with me." And a few days go by, and oh shit, I still haven't returned it. He's going to be angry with me, and oh no, and it's like, geez, I shouldn't have borrowed the lawnmower in the first place, and suddenly he goes to take it back, takes the lawnmower back, says, "Here, have your fucking lawnmower back." Because in his mind he built this tale up, and the reality is, and the neighbour goes, "What?"
Like, and this is going into another little area there, but I'm always nervous of stuff like that, because like, we don't understand other people. Like, even now, you and I having this conversation, I think we're pretty good at understanding each other at a current level, but like, at the end of the day, I'm not in your head. You're going to think about things, I'm going to say words in ways that you don't quite understand, and we can never be truly on the same level. So I find a good way to be very expressive with my communication, like really let people know how I think and why I think this way in certain regards. Because like, the moment you like, you know, I'm just like not going to talk to you, like, oh fucking he made this onion meal which I hated, and he did this on purpose and stuff, and because you're just thinking inside your head and you're assuming, oh, you know, if I was in his position, I would have done this in spite or something. But like, having the conversation, it's like, why the fuck did you have onions? Like, oh, I thought you would like to know. I don't. I've never liked onions. Like, oh, I forgot. Sorry. And that solves a lot of issues. Like, quite off the bat. I feel like sometimes people get stuck in their own head and assume other people think and jump to conclusions the same way they do. Which
I think most people don't want to mean you harm or do the wrong thing. Most people, rarely do you come across it. Most people just, you know, they do something and they're not either not aware of what the other not aware
like
of
the person cutting you off in the traffic. They didn't do it in spite of you.
No, they don't know you.
You
know, I know I've cut people off. You know, it's funny because we're insular with that sort of thing. I mean, I've done that and people have beeped at me, and you know,
I'm usually like, oh shit, I'm sorry,
And
I didn't notice.
Yeah. And no one's there like, I'm going to cut you off.
I'm sure there are some people.
There are probably assholes.
But
we see that in road rage.
Yeah, well, like I saw a video or something about a TikTok influencer. It was like chasing someone down because they got cut in front of.
Yeah.
And they thought, oh, it's a fan that purposely did it to me. And it's like, this is a very narrow way of thinking that, you know, the world is, you're the main character.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Which is generally why I play the devil's advocate a lot, because it's like, I need to, like, I can't understand other people, but if I try and, you know, defend every bad decision anyone's made, like even at work, I'll have some of my co-workers say, oh, this customer's so rude, they did this and that, and they said this, and I'm like, well, like maybe there's other reasons why they were saying that.
Yeah.
Like it's not just what
someone
we
might have cut
understood.
them off in traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and that's why they're having a bad day and stuff.
You don't. It's a guy, Adrian Plass, I think it was, wrote a book where he talked about everyone is I, and the fact that, and it comes back to being anxious in crowds and things, that you think the world centers around you. You believe that the universe is within your sphere, and it's not.
Yeah.
And those people have got their own universes. Everybody's got their own things. That, you know, that's the same. You walk down the street, no one's looking at you. They've got their own shit to worry about, and their own things to think about, their own anxieties and problems and thoughts and ideas, and trying to pursue their whatever it is they're trying to pursue in life. And you forget that. I think we all do. We're so focused on where we sit in our bubble.
Yeah.
And when someone intrudes on that, it's like, why are they intruding on my bubble?
Yeah. Getting back to the happiness and
Yep.
stuff. So I've figured out, and I think this was at the Timber Mill, I figured this out, where about $700 a week. Anything less, I start, you know, I need a budget and stuff, and I'm not, like, I don't have the comfortability to just be as, like, the rich happiness that I usually go for. And I think this is one of the things I kind of wanted to bring up, but like I do think, because we've had this discussion of it's a lot harder for people who are homeless to be happy as opposed to someone who has stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So we did talk about that. So and I remember, so being my altruistic sort of point of view. So we'll just for the sake of argument say that someone who is homeless can be happy if they choose to be. So that's the point of, you know, you have that capacity when you've got nothing to choose to be happy. And it comes back to Buddhists and a lot of people who, I can't remember the guy's name, it was a Buddhist monk who had been imprisoned by the Chinese for quite some time, and he was tortured. And when he was released, they asked him, you know, he said, what was it like? And he said, I'm glad I'm being released. I didn't think I could do it for much longer. And what he meant was forgive his captors. So what he did was he survived because he felt sorry for the people torturing him. He felt sorry, so he was still happy. He chose to be content in an environment which is extremely horrific. I don't expect anyone to do that. And I don't really expect, you don't expect people who are homeless on the streets, because of the circumstances people are homeless on the streets are varied greatly. So why you're there is a whole lot of misfortunate, probably a lot of unfortunate reasons. But altruistically, yes, you know, you could choose to be content and happy in that environment. But reality is right. You're right. Like, and I spoke about Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah,
you do need certain things to be able to pursue happiness, to be able to. Otherwise, you're trying to survive.
Yeah, so that's a good point.
If you don't have a house, you're cold. You're trying to stay warm. You've got. You're not worried about, you know, oh, I'm going to miss my TV show, which I really enjoy.
The latest watch, that would make me happy. It's like, no, that...
Yeah, you're worried about, well, shit, I've got to eat, or where am I going to sleep? It's freezing, or who's gonna beat the shit out of me tonight? Like,
Yeah.
you know, so you're down that hierarchical of needs, and suddenly your survival and well-being is paramount.
Yeah. Which I think is a good point. Anything else we need to add? Does the chat have anything to say as well? We'll take more questions now.
Yeah, I don't think I don't know.
But yeah,
it's a big question, and I doubt that. Like, you know.
Well, like at the end of the
answer
day,
is
it's
typical.
these like whole conversations in order to think more about it, because like it's not always something you think about. It's
No.
like what makes one happy.
No.
Sometimes people just will mindlessly follow on. You know, better watch MasterChef. That'll make me happy.
Yeah.
And you know it's true, but it's also like, why does that make you happy? Is it the social interaction? Is it?
Sometimes you've got to be careful with things. If you like doing things, not to overthink too much, but if it's like if you're doing something like, well, you know, I'm missing out on my heroin,
Yeah.
that might be better than, you know, watching MasterChef. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
So you should, if something's causing you harm in bringing you happiness, like, you know, you probably should be careful about that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I think the problem is sometimes people won't recognise the harm. Like they'll be so narrow focused on like, wow, that high makes me feel good.
yeah.
They will forget about all the stealing and all the violence.
The classic one, just remembered it, is the classic one is the suffering of others brings people joy. You see this on, this is what TV shows often do. There are a lot of reality shows.
Stop it, Cherry. Go on.
Oh, that was a dog. A lot of reality shows do this. You see, or TV, you see this someone down having a hard time of it, and we love it. We love seeing people, you know, having a difficult time.
I don't.
I know, but generally, it's a
Yeah,
thing.
I get what you mean.
I don't tend to. Like, that's current affairs, a classic one, where they will pursue somebody and just make a confrontation out of it. Or, you know, just on the news, I hate it when they
Even,
wait for someone to cry.
drama shows, I like that kind of just annoys me because it feels like I generally just want to see everyone in my life happy, and I will happily sacrifice my happiness and other stuff to do that, and I'm okay to do that because honestly, seeing the joy in other people's face is what I generally strive for.
Yeah.
I do remember one point, this is a while ago, this is something you've taught me. I doubt you'll remember this, but I think you called me selfish because I'm doing something to make someone happy because that makes me happy.
Oh, yeah.
Which...
That is true. Like,
Yeah.
but it's not in a bad way. To do stuff for other people, yeah. And this is
It is
another
a selfish
it's
thing
a selfish
to do
act.
something for other people,
yeah,
but like...
because you do it because it makes you feel better, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That's not.
Well,
We often use
considering-
selfishness as a bad connotation. In that regard, it's a good thing. So we're allowed to be selfish in those sort of regards. I think.
Yeah.
I do remember saying it because it's something that I've also read. And, it's a good way of being
and
a selfish act.
It's actually, like, I think it's also good for people to be selfish. I'm doing air quotes here because I don't mean like, you know, I want that candy from a baby, I'm going to steal it type of selfish, but like, you got to look after oneself.
Yeah.
It gets to a point of like, you
Yes.
can't sacrifice so much when you're not getting anything back, because then why are you there?
So that selfishness is not a bad thing in regards.
It can go too far.
But it's like everything.
Yeah.
It's like, you know,
Chasing happiness can go too far.
You can have too many vegetables. You know, it's like everything in the right context. It's something that's important. Making other people happy because it makes you happy. I'm going to do this because it makes me. If I'm going to give to a charity because it makes me feel good, you know, it is selfish because you feel good, and that's not a bad thing. That's okay because it's a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah.
The charity gets their support and you feel good. You know, 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else to add.
No questions.
I think chat's been like lurking, listening to us in the background. Yeah. Alright, thanks for the
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, it was a
conversation.
good chat.
Yeah.
Jeez.
What's next time?
Next time?
Religion.
Oh, jeez.
I honestly, I think
If there's any ideas too, if anyone wants any ideas, they can let us know too.
I need to check on YouTube. I doubt anyone's, watched it. I said, leave us comments on YouTube videos.
Yeah, you can. Yep.
Usually, soon after this stream ends, I will put it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know if you have ideas.
Yep.
I think religion will be an interesting one.
Religion is a very interesting one. That's something I've spent.
It's also a very big topic. But again, we'll chase that next week.
We'll try that next week. All right.
Unless chat has something better. So yeah, leave a comment in the description below. I'm gonna move over.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Alright, see you.
I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna go see on mostly Mum.
Mostly Mum, yeah. Alright, thanks for listening.
See you guys. Bye.
Don't know whether I'll stream later tonight. I haven't decided yet.
I'll grab my jumper.
That helps, yeah. Thanks for watching. Is it worth rating someone? Do we have someone who's currently live? I also need to figure out what's for dinner as well. Who do we have to raid? Oh, James. Doing some Overwatch the nerd. Alright, I'll slap you over to James. Happiness is for dinner. I don't know what's for dinner actually. I think it's get your own and I don't know what I've got planned. So that's something I'll have to chase up. Because going back to happiness again, I find eating some foods comforting and happy. Thanks for watching. I shall pass you on to James Raid. James Raid. Oh god, I can hear myself now. Why can I hear myself? Oh god, I can hear myself now. Why can I hear myself? My tablet's gone to shit. There we go. So I'll pass you on. They're playing some Overwatch. Hopefully they're going to get better so we can have them in more games. But thanks for watching. Also, Mel, your alt got a sub as well, in case you didn't realise. We had Blank come in yesterday to give 5 subs. Alright, thanks for watching. Spam, mostly raid, and I'll see you guys either later tonight or tomorrow, depends. Alright, boy! And stream, for those who didn't join the raid. Goodbye. And also, leave a comment below. Let us know if there is a conversation you want us to cover. And I'll see you later.